body. The Parks Commission and the CAPC is not a political body. They are set up with a sense of autonomy for the very reason that we don't interfere from a political aspect. We're the people who are lobbied by constituents. If I get 20 phone calls from constituents, that in no way reflects the general public. The only way we come anywhere close to knowing what the general public wants is through a general election. And in that general election, you are empowered to represent a constituent body. They empower you to make those decisions because government is not set up as a true democracy. It is set up as a republic, and we represent the people. We make the decisions. All actions are not brought before the people. Quite frankly, they don't want all actions brought before them. That's why we serve at this table. We're empowered to represent the citizenry. And as counsel, our lawyer, informed us, this is an action that supersedes the authority of the Parks Commission. We are, in effect, politicizing the Parks Commission. We are in very dangerous waters. The state legislature passed ordinances to prohibit us from taking such actions. We should not make a political football out of something that the Parks has gone through all the proper channels to achieve. Everything shouldn't come to a vote of the people. If the people feel this is an item that they want to vote on, let the people decide that. That's not an issue that we should be deciding. The people have the authority. If they feel they want to vote on it, let them bring it toward the public. But we, as this governing body, this is not our responsibility. This is a power grab. I'm sorry. I'm not willing to grab more power than is designated to us by the people. So I will not be party to a vote on this. I will do everything to deny this vote. It's the right thing to do. The system is set up to function in a certain way, and we are usurping that power by an action that is taken by a small minority of people wanting to put this to the vote of the people. Let the people decide this, not a couple, 3 or 4 council people. Listen to the city attorney. He's giving you good counsel. And to go against it, you're out there on that limb. And I'm sorry, but I don't want to usurp power when it's not ours to take.
Ms. Bell, she had...
I attended the Parks public hearing on this, and contrary to what my colleague is trying to convince people, public comment was not largely in favor. I'm guessing there was 12 or 15 people who spoke at that meeting. 1 or 2 of them were in favor of the project. The rest were not. As a matter of fact, many of the people who were at that meeting were people you don't usually see stand up and have something to say about something like that. So that was rather interesting too. And so it occurs to me that perhaps people are being ignored, and the people who are way in favor of this, and they're willing to do almost anything they can do to get this project pushed through because it's what their heart really wants, are totally ignoring a lot of other people. So in as much as the parks, Basin Park in particular, belongs to the people, if indeed there is as much overwhelming support for this project as some people would have us believe, then there should be no problem with having this come to a vote of the people. It should pass with flying colors. If, in fact, they're a little bit nervous about having it come to the people, then I can totally see why they would not want it to go to a vote of the people, even though it is the people's park. It belongs to the people. We're not asking for anything other than having this on the ballot at the next general election. It's not a special election, won't cost any extra money, but just, a few cents worth of ink to put it on the ballot. And truly, it may be that people are largely in favor of it, in which case, great. That's what the people want. On the other hand, it may well be that people are not as overwhelmingly in favor as some people would have us believe all the people are. And so having it go to a vote of the people would merely clarify what the people really want. What the people really want. The park belongs to the people. The park belongs to the people. The park belongs to the people. Their taxes support everything that goes on in the Parks and Recreation Department. I think it should go to a vote of the people. That's my opinion. Thank you.
Mr. Pennell?
I'd like to reiterate and ask the question again, and basically something that the city attorney addressed, because as I told the gentleman this afternoon, I don't have an opinion on this either way other than doing it the right way. If this is not within our purview, then how did it get here to start with? Secondly, if it's not within our purview, then why does the CAPC and Parks come to this table for money? And thirdly, if that's the case, then why do nominations and filling of those two commissions come to this table for approval if we are not a part of their process? And to keep from, and I don't know if this is in Webster, but somebody's used it a couple times tonight, politicizing those two departments, then if somebody can show me and the people that this is not a political city council issue, then it should be dropped off of our agenda now and let Parks or whomever in any type of subservient commission that is not a player that we affect, then they ought to be the ones listening to the people and making a decision, and let the people get upset at them and not us. You know, we got other fish to fry. You know, if we aren't supposed to be doing this, then let's get on with trying to get other things fixed in this city.
I think our city attorney answered your first question when he first started out. We don't have the authority over that, according to the city attorney. How it got on the agenda was, I believe, Ms. Balance and I guess maybe you put it on the agenda. You can put anything you want on the agenda. Doesn't
Call the
mean
question.
anything for that. So I got a call for the question. I have a second.
Second.
All right.
Got to vote on that.
Yes, ma'am. All those in
Discussion,
favor?
please.
That's going to be a roll call.
Yeah.
Discussion, please.
Discussion for calling the question?
No.
Mr. DeVito?
Yes.
Dr. Kirkpatrick?
What is the motion? I'm all messed up here.
The original motion.
It's called the question. Is what we're voting on.
In other words, they want to shut down discussion.
No.
Ms. Alexander?
Yes.
Ms. Balance?
No.
Mr. Pownall?
No.
Mr. Berry?
Doesn't matter. You got 3 no's?
Motion
Well-
dies.
What did you say?
Motion
The
dies.
If you got 3 no's, motion died.
Okay.
So we had you have a motion?
There's a motion on the table, I believe.
Okay, and the motion is?
What is the motion?
I don't think there was a motion.
Point of order.
Yes, there was no second. James wanted to
James made a
postpone
motion
until
to
minutes
postpone, but we didn't
from
have a second.
HDC and planning.
There was no second there.
There was no
We had a
second,
motion-
and that was the
We had a
only
motion to
one.
defer, but there was no second.
The motion was to place the Basin Park project on the ballot for the next general election.
No, we hadn't had that motion yet. You want to make that motion, that's okay.
I'd like to watch the tape.
We had a motion to discuss.
You had a motion to discuss.
Okay. discuss.
Now, is that correct?
You could be correct. I'll have to look at the tape, but I will.
I think that's really
Okay, thank you.
There is no motion. All right. You want to make a motion?
No, I still want to discuss.
Discuss.
Okay, I'll make a motion. We moved to discuss. We're discussing. Okay, I'll make a motion.
James?
We've exhausted all of our points
What's your
by
opinion?
Robert's Rules of Order. We've had more than two
You always take more than two.
bites at the apple.
Is there a motion on this for anything? You want to make a motion?
I still want to discuss.
I think we have discussed this.
I think there's some more discussion. Mr. DeVito gets
Mr.
extra
Pennell,
chances
would you
every
mind?
time he
Mr.
wants.
Pennell, I'm recognizing you.
I make a motion that the city attorney write a legal decision on whether or not this should even be at this table before we do anything else.
I'll second.
Before you vote on that, change the word to decision to opinion. Because I have
Excuse
no
me.
authority to make a decision.
True that.
Okay, an opinion, a legal
All right,
opinion.
we have a motion to allow the city attorney to write an opinion on whether or not this should be placed on the ballot. We have a second.
Actually, that motion was
that
to
was not my motion.
whether it should be before the table.
Whether it
Whether
should
it should
even
be
be
before the
here.
table. Okay, sorry. All right. Pardon me.
Discussion?
Motion is to whether or not the city attorney will write an opinion on whether or not this should be brought before the table. All right, now we have discussion. Ms. Fallon.
Without going into great detail, at this point, I don't have a lot of confidence in our city attorney's opinions. He's given us many opinions that really didn't hold up. He's tried to misguide us many, many times. He's, in my opinion,
Point
over
of
there
order,
trying to run
point
the
of
meeting
order.
often.
This is not germane to the.
It certainly
resolution.
is.
If you got a discussion on whether or not we want an opinion, that's the point.
I'm having a real issue with the city attorney's opinions
Okay.
recently. Thank you very much.
So noted. Any other discussion? All right. All those in favor of having the city attorney write his opinion on whether or not this should come before the table, signify by saying aye. All opposed?
No.
4-1. So moved. All right. Next item is safe route to school discussion. We have Arkansas Safe Route to School is a grant application that the city has been applying for, that is basically applying for a grant through the state, through the Arkansas Safe Route to School program, to develop and improve sidewalks to the Eureka Springs Elementary School. This funding would allow us to, if we received it, to build a sidewalk along Highway 23 to the intersection of Highway 2362, which does not have a sidewalk at this point. We may have to make some improvements at the intersection where the sidewalk meets the existing, but basically that's what this resolution is all about. I believe this is 100% grant, and the application needs to be in next week, this week, June 1st. And so that's what this resolution is basically for, is expressing that if we got the grant, we would utilize the money to build the sidewalks for the schools, for the kids. Yes,
Can you clarify where these sidewalks are going again?
Highway 23, from the intersection of 23 and 62, down along Highway 23 to the intersection of Lake Lucerne Road. There's no sidewalk there at this point in time.
Did we have a motion to discuss?
No. We need a motion to discuss.
So move.
Second.
Okay. So any other discussion?
No, I'd like to have some more information on this.
I would,
Yes, sir.
being as this approval has to be in by June 1st, and we will not have another meeting until then, and it is 100% funded, and it is about safety for our children going to and from school. I make a motion that we read the resolution, Arkansas Safe Routes to School Programs, application for infrastructure project funding.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'd second that.
Do I have a discussion?
The number.
Oh. Yes, sir.
I don't know. We're back to, we've done it one way one time and we've done it another way another time, and reading, assigning a number, and having discussion. So I'm just going to jump right in. On section 2, where it says that the mayor of Eureka Springs is hereby authorized and directed to execute all appropriate agreements and contracts. Does that mesh? Have you looked at this, Mr. Weaver?
I've seen it.
Does this mesh with the current city code as far as who has the authority to sign contracts up to whatever amount? You know, this could be, for all I know, a $180,000 project, or it could be a $10,000 project, and depending on whether or not, just because it's going to be federal money, do we ignore all city codes that say who's authorized to sign and
You're not ignoring the codes by passing this. You would be authorizing the mayor to do that. You can authorize the mayor to do that if you feel you have the power.
The thing, Mr. Pennell, I think what I'm seeing here is that Arkansas Highway Transportation has a maximum grant size of $200,000. I don't believe, have we ever received one?
No,
Yes, please.
McClellan Engineering is working on this. This is the second year we requested for this grant. We did it last year and did not receive it. It's a yearly grant. He's coming in with specs and cost and stuff like that. And on that, he just needs the resolution passed, see if we are in agreement for him to further the process of putting the application together. It is 100% funded by the feds for this, and it has to be 2 miles within a school zone, or within a school, which it is, and it is in our plan of how we want to connect sidewalks all around 62 and stuff, so it'd be more getting more people out walking on the sidewalks, using their bikes and stuff like that. So it is part of a bigger picture, and this grant only is within a 2-mile radius of the school. But we don't have the cost yet, because he's waiting to see if the council's approving.
Yes, sir.
is McClellan doing this for free?
I'm sure they're not.
Well, they are the engineers.
They're doing the grant application, I'm sure, on a basis that if they get the grant, then their fees are written into the grant.
Then my only other question, and the way this resolution is written compared to other resolutions where we've, as a council, said, yes, we support going forward for going for the money. And I'm going to sound like a broken record, but it says right in section 1 that if we get this money and we build the sidewalks, okay, we're going to be keeping them maintained from here on. And I just have a concern that with the verbiage versus, unless that's required in the grant that says we're going to have to maintain them, we don't have budgeted. Now, we have enough trouble with sidewalks in this town the way it is, let alone the new ones. Just a concern about the way the resolution is worded and saying that, you know, it's a freebie. There's no such thing as a freebie?
You are correct. It is. I'm seeing if I sent y'all the original resolution before the blanks were filled in, and it does state. I guess I don't have it in there, but it did state that we have to maintain the sidewalks in the original. Yeah, that one right there. And it does say that you have to maintain.
Although, you know, you have Mr. DeVito.
Bear in mind that these will be brand new sidewalks. But I think we're losing focus on what this is all about, and this is about the safety of children going to and from school. And that's a very important thing. Right now they're having to walk on the side of the road, and that's very dangerous. You're not going to be maintaining, there will be no maintenance on sidewalks for decades. I mean, it's just by the nature of new construction. So I think we need to be focused on the fact that this is 100% funded, and this is about the safety of school children to and from school.
Ms. Fowles?
I forgot to bring my paperwork. I fell asleep in my recliner reading it last night. But even with a brief perusal, I noticed, and let me preface this with, I'm all for sidewalks for kids and getting out and riding their bikes and walking to school and so forth. But one of my questions is, when I was reading it, it seemed like there were rather extensive preparatory steps that you needed to go through, different forms that needed to be filled out by teachers and parents and different things like that. Would you speak to us about that, please?
Got letters. We got letters of not approval, but they're in favor of it. We got it from the school and from other people in town, and we collect those last year. And when I talked to McClellan, he said we can use that again for this year for support of it.
Did you notice those forms that were online? The forms for parents to fill out?
And McClellan's filling them out, and the stuff that he needs from the city to update, I've already done that, like how many citations in his school zone, has there been any injuries and stuff like that, how many kids live within a 2-mile radius, are you talking about?
Well, there were also forms that I just looked at briefly. One of them was for, I think, either teachers or people that were out walking with the kids. Like there was this whole preparatory thing where people were out walking with the kids and doing different things. And then there was a form that for the parents to fill out that they could be sent home to all the parents that said, did their children walk to school? Did their children want to walk to school? Different things like that. It was actually a form for the parents to fill out.
I can't answer that question about that one.
Okay.
So.
I noticed there was a lot of preparatory work that needed to be done.
Right. And like I said, this is the second year that McClellan is doing this for us.
But the parents haven't filled out the forms. The teacher hasn't filled out.
I can't answer.
Forms.
He just sent me the list of things that he needed from the city.
Okay.
On this part. So.
Okay. And do you know if people have been doing the walks, walking with the children to school as a part of this, the requirements for this grant?
I sure don't.
Okay.
So.
Thanks.
Any further discussion? All right, we do have a motion. What's the resolution number?
581.
581. To read 581. If there's no further discussion, all those in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. I'll let the clerk read it. Actually, you got one?
Resolution 581, Arkansas Safe Routes to School Program, application for infrastructure project funding. A resolution expressing the willingness of the City of Eureka Springs to utilize federal aid monies. Whereas the City of Eureka Springs applied for funding through the Arkansas Safe Routes to School Program to develop or improve sidewalks to the Eureka Springs Elementary School, and whereas the City of Eureka Springs understands federal aid are available for this project on a reimbursable basis, requiring work to be accomplished and proof of payment prior to actual monetary reimbursement, and whereas the City of Eureka Springs understands there will be no reimbursement for any work accomplished prior to the issuance by the Arkansas State Highway and Transportation Department of an official notice to proceed, and whereas this project using federal funding will be open and available for use by the general public and maintained by the City of Eureka Springs. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Eureka Springs that Section 1, the City of Eureka Springs will participate in accordance with its designated responsibility, including maintenance of this project. Section 2, the Mayor of Eureka Springs is hereby authorized and directed to execute all appropriate agreements and contracts necessary to expedite the construction of the above stated projects. Section 3, the City Council of Eureka Springs pledges its full support and hereby authorizes the Mayor of Eureka Springs to cooperate with the Arkansas State Highway and Transportation Department to initiate action to implement this project.
Thank you. That brings us to our agenda setting session.
Move to discuss.
Second.
Move to discuss in second. Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to add a discussion of procurement of a mower for the cemetery.
I'll second that.
Okay. Mr. Pennell?
I'm going to make this as one motion unless there's some reason why I can't. There was an item left off of the agenda and either a misunderstanding or whatever. So my motion is to establish a date for a workshop for FOIA, budget workshop, and for goals and
I'm sorry, is it budget workshop?
budget workshop.
Oh, for the lawyer? Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
Anything, because I'm to the point now with the way emails are going back and forth that I think it's time to do something about the budget process and goals and those things that we should be working on at this table to further this city into the 19th century.
Okay.
So are these three separate?
It's basically establishing a budget workshop, isn't it?
Budget workshop, discussion of FOIA process
Of what?
and
FOIA.
FOIAs
Oh.
and goals and what this council's legacy is going to be, for lack of a better word. Basically, I see it as 3 workshops.
Second.
Anybody else? All right. City Council comments. Ms. Alexander?
Nope, nothing for this evening, thank you.
All right. I'm going to change up. Ms. Balance?
First of all, I understand that the Parks Commission has decided to take care of replacing the glass that was accidentally broken out in Mr. James Wells' car down by Harmon Park several days ago. And I want to extend my deepest thanks to the Parks Department for deciding to do that. I think it was the right decision. I think being a good neighbor in this city will go a long way for us. I think it's very, very wrong for the city to damage property and then refuse to repair it. And so I thank the Parks Department for making that decision from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. Now, that said, I noticed in last week's paper that the Eureka Springs Department recently welcomed a new member. I'd like to remind the citizens that according to Chapter 2.48 of our Municipal Code, Police Department established 2.48.01 established There is established the police department of the city, which shall consist of the chief of police and such police officers as the council shall prescribe by resolution or ordinance. Each member of the police department shall be appointed by the mayor and confirmed by the council. Each member of the police department shall be appointed by the mayor and confirmed by the council pursuant to the provisions of this article. They shall receive such compensation as shall be determined by ordinance or resolution, and such compensation shall be in lieu of all special fees, rewards, or remuneration arising from such police.